Yeah, welcome at Pretty Valley Honey Farm. We are hoping that you come out to visit us. We have a very nice location. We're looking forward to meet you and explain to you how we extract our wonderful honey. We have a wonderful, flavorful honey this year that is mainly from clovers around this area. So come out, visit us. We'll be happy to have you. Our honey house, that's where we process all our honey. You'll see this garage door. The finished product is coming out. At the rear end, where the trucks are parked, we usually bring in the honey. And in the middle, the two big tanks are our sugar tanks, where we store up to 2,500 gallons of liquid sugar for the feeding process in fall and spring. Interesting with bees, as daytime and sunlight shifts, different flowers open up. So this ones are probably morning flowers, where the bees are in the morning. While I can't see any bees in the alfalfa yet. Alfalfa needs usually full sunshine and 25 degrees before they start. That's a major part you see here. This one carries a nice pollen petty on the legs. It's nice and red. That's how bees go from flower to flower and do their pollination job in any flower there is. The most important part on bees that always fascinates me, bees are flower steady. See, this particular bee only goes to the purple little flowers here and no other flower. It might change over in the afternoon to alfalfa, but once it starts on the purple flowers, it stays on the purple flowers. And a different bee will do the alfalfa, which ensures for agriculture that bees do a pollination job. If you have a bumblebee or wild bees or wasps, they'll go from a purple flower to a blue flower to a yellow flower, and they'll switch the flowers, and they have all kind of pollen on there, which doesn't ensure quite the effect of pollination than European honeybees do. That's why European honeybees are so important for agriculture, because when you have an agriculture product that needs pollination and the bees catch on to it, they'll stay in it and they'll do their job. 39 hives here. That's usually a economical, nice size. We keep around 36 to 40 hives on a spot. The odd one has less, the odd one has more for other reasons. But economically, this is nicely done. One spot in the morning, one spot in the afternoon. We can do that with a crew, and we still get a efficient and effective way of removing honey and bringing new boxes out and stuff. So it's a nice way of doing things. So we're so far up north. All our hives have all our apiaries are actually fenced off with electric fence, and it's powered by a solar fencer, so it's under power all the time to keep the bears out. And lately we found out that the solar lights kind of help too, especially now in the darker time of the year, to keep the bear out and not ravaging our bee yards. So here's the bees are sitting on the honey. You see the honey in there? We can't take this honey because it's not ripe. It's pretty close. It doesn't shake out of the frame anymore. Beekeepers check like that. If it spills out, then it's not ripe. And you'll see that we're getting close. There's a few cells already that put the cappings on, and when that frame is around 1/3 capped, we usually try to take the boxes in, and then the honey is ripe, and we can take that box into. See, there's some started to cap the honey already. That's a sign for us beekeepers that the honey is starting to get ripe, that we can start to harvest. And we're using mainly plastic frames, and you see how the bees, we put it in like this, and the bees put the comb on, right, build, and as the honey comes in, they'll make that bigger. And we don't put it in every year new, but we have to replace around 10% of the frames, 5 to 10% of the frames every year, to make sure that we have nice frames where the honey comes out. It's good for the flavor. There's the bees waiting to fill the boxes, right? That's a little better. There's some weight in there, but they're not. There's a few more bees here. Always have to put a little smoke on there.
Yep.
This is where the crop gets secured before we convince with the extracting. As you can see, there's always a few bees in here that we bring. The ripe honey sits in the boxes here. Yeah, I had to. It's a very nice frame. Capped, ripe. Honey. Normally a frame like this holds 5 to 6 pounds of liquid honey. And temperature in here is set at 35 to 36 degrees Celsius, which kind of imitates the temperature inside a beehive. The temperature inside a beehive is 38 degrees Celsius, close to brood nest. Where the honey is around 36, goes down a little bit, and that keeps the honey liquid and the viscosity up that we need for the extracting process. Because honey naturally creams out, as we know, in the jar when it cools off. We can't work with creamed out honey. We need it liquid. So we can store the honey in here for a couple days, and then as we get time to extract it, it goes out through the extractor. And so a box like this is going to weigh around 50 to 60 pounds with the wood and the frames. And the guys have to carry that in the heat. So the manual labor out there is quite extensive. The frames come out of the hot room. They'll be put in this machine, which we call the uncapper. The uncapper takes the cappings off the ripe honey so we can extract the actual honey. From here, the frames go up onto our chain, which is basically only a waiting loop, where they wait to be pushed into the extractor. The actual extractor is this big drum here. Bottle's gone. Flaschen weg hinten? Flaschen weg? So, the actual extractor is here. The extractor fits 132 frames, 128 frames, 32 in each quarter. And it spins with around 200 RPMs, and the honey gets spilled out on the outside of the drum, runs down at the bottom, and gets to what we call the sump. From here, the wax from the capping machine and the honey gets pumped through the big blue pump. Big blue pump and a heat exchanger that again brings the honey out to the 38 degrees Celsius, makes it nice and smooth, and it goes over in our centrifugal spin flow honey cleaner that is able to clean, which is the machine low that makes noise right now, which is able to clean the honey at a very high rate. And from there, there's a little pump, the black hose goes over to the other side in our big honey tanks. Spin starts. It's the last checkup. Everything is okay. Seems to be all okay. The RPMs up to 100, the honey will start coming in. And I'll switch on the big honey pump, and you'll see the honey go up here. It's like a little railway. Until it has enough RPMs. Right now the frames are bouncing in there. Force against this wall, and because of the specific weight of honey, it is so heavy it gets forced against the wall, and the wax is forced to the inside because it's lighter. So the wax builds up to the inside. There's a knife in here, and as soon as the wax reaches a certain thickness, it's cutting off the wax in little flakes, while the clean honey spills out here over some bottles. It spills out very clean up against this wall and flows down. We'll have to wait a little bit till it does that. And here's our honey tanks. They're called settling tanks. The honey will sit here overnight, and my lead hand will show you now how the honey is going to come out into a barrel ready to be shipped. That would be our main product, which is bulk honey, which gets cleaned and strained down a wee pick. So just open up the tap. There the honey comes out. Clean and golden. You can see by the color, it's a very light color. We have a nice white honey up here with a really good flavor. We're very proud of our products this year. We packed up in glass beer, nice shape, and you can see the color of the honey this year. We have a very nice and white color of the honey, very smooth. We're very excited. We package our honey in half kilogram, 3 kilogram and 7 kilogram containers. We'll have lots there, so if you come out, it's be worth your trip to pick up the honey fresh and explain your children how it all goes and comes. So just come out and visit us. We'll be happy to have you. Yeah, thank you for visiting. This is our honey crew in 2012 on the Pretty Valley Honey Farm. And thanks for visiting again.